Welcome to this Arnold Clifford tutorial on the alternating cable cast-on method. This video is part of our Confident Knitting series, 12 patterns to teach you 12 new techniques from the world's best knitting designers. Today's tutorial is going to show you how to work the alternating cable cast-on, which is the recommended cast-on method for Marceline Smith's terrain mitts, which are these here. You can of course choose to use whichever is your preferred cast-on method. Longtail would be fine in things, but the alternating cable cast-on is a really nice method for 1x1 rib. I know it's not that easy to see in the dark brown, so I'll show you in the light grey in a little while, but it's almost invisible and beautifully stretchy. I'm going to demonstrate how to use this cast-on method for 1x1 rib. It's ever so straightforward to adjust this for any combination of rib. Unlike the tubular cast-on, which only works for 1x1 and 2x2, the alternating cable cast-on can be used for any rib pattern. So I'm going to show you how to work it for 1x1 rib, because that's what used in our pattern, and then at the end of the video I'm going to explain how you adjust it for your chosen rib pattern. Leaving a tail long enough to weave in later, you're going to start by making a slip knot. Let's do it that way. And then you're going to hold that in your left hand. Once your slip knot's on the needle, the first thing to do is to knit into that first loop. So here, always be careful to make sure you're using the working yarn and not the tail. So we're knitting into that first stitch, wrapping the yarn round, pulling the loop through, and then instead of slipping it off the left needle, we're going to just place that new loop onto the left needle. So now we have 2 stitches on the needles, and you'll notice I haven't tightened my loop, because my top tip for this is that you put the needle in for the next stitch before you tighten it. It makes it much easier to get the needle in, and it just helps to ensure that your tension along that first cast on edge isn't too tight. So we've got 2 stitches on the needle and we're setting up for 1x1 rib, and so the next thing to do is to put our spare second needle between the 2 stitches from back to front. Okay, so it's gone in from back to front, and we're now going to tighten up the yarn, and we're going to purl, or wrap the yarn around purlwise and draw that loop through and place it onto our needle tip. And that's made us a purl stitch. We're now going to make a knit stitch by putting the needle from front to back, so the other way round, between those first and second stitches. We now tighten the loop, wrap the yarn round, pull the loop through and put the loop onto the left needle. And that's basically all there is to it. So we go from back to front, gently tighten, wrap the yarn round purlwise, pull that loop through and place it on the left needle, and then we go from front to back, tighten, wrap the yarn round, pull through and place it on. And you just bring the yarn to the side that you need it on, underneath the needle. And you just keep alternating. For 1x1 rib, you keep alternating. I've now cast on a few more stitches, and you can see a little more clearly how the edge is going to look. The slip knot here is sort of counts, as we're looking at from this direction, counts as a purl. And that first stitch into the slip knot was a knit, and then we came from back to front for the next one. So you can see the stitches that are set up as purls kind of sink back, they recede back into the edge. And then the next one that's sitting forward is a knit. And then there's a purl sitting back and a knit coming to the front. So if you were working a ribbing that was not one by one, then instead of just alternating between going from the back to the front, you would work as many knit stitches by putting your needle in from front to back as you required, and then as many purl stitches as you needed by going from back to front. And in that way you can set up for any combination of rib. I'm now ready to start working in the round on these stitches that I've cast on, and once I've folded the ends round ready to join where I've finished casting on this needle tip to my slip knot at the beginning of this needle tip, of course I'm now looking at the other side of the stitches, so the slip knot is now going to be the knit stitch. So to join in the round, all I'm going to do is knit into that. And now that's the first stitch that was knitted into the slip knot. That's now ready to be purled. And you can see it's sort of sitting back into the cast on edge as we showed you on the other side. Here we go, this one's a knit. And we're just going to work our ribbing over the edge so that the stitches all match up. And I'm going to work a few rounds of rib over this, and then I will show you how the cast on edge looks. Give you a big spoiler, it's a really nice edge. I've now worked a few rounds of rib over the cast on edge, and you can see at the bottom here how beautiful that edge is, and it really does look basically invisible, and it's nice and stretchy. I do hope you found that tutorial on the alternating cable cast on helpful, and you'll be ready to try it out on all sorts of future projects. We're able to keep producing our video tutorials, and we're able to keep them free from adverts thanks to all of the fantastic purchases from you, our wonderful customers, and we're really grateful for that. If you'd like to purchase Confident Knitting or find out any more about our projects, then do click the link up top here to visit our website, and you'll find everything you need. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel with the button in the bottom right hand corner so that you don't miss our next tutorial video. Thanks ever so much for watching. Bye bye.